kind of been interesting. For those of you that know anything about my story, we're coming into a very pivotal time since there's been disruption in my world and my career. And so for the next 12 days, I'm going to give you what I learned in 12 months. And for those of you who don't know the concept of kintsugi, that's one of the first lessons that I learned. So kintsugi is a Japanese art of taking broken pottery and infusing it with gold to create a completely different value. Now, the hard part about this is that for those of you who have been in your career for any length of time, this thing called business will break you at some point in time. Now, whether it's accidental, whether it is your own doing, whether it's just time, the problem and the process means that you will be broken at some point. Now, the key is, after that's happened, are you going to just accept yourself as broken? Or are you willing to go down the route of doing something like kintsugi? Now, kintsugi, the thing that's so hard about this is that you end up taking something that has a given shape and form, a given value, a given purpose, and you have to bring the pieces back together. It doesn't mean you're going to use all the pieces, but you end up trying to reform it. And what actually happens is that as there's that infusion of gold or these other elements, it actually, one, creates a new beauty to what was once broken and shattered in pieces, but it also creates a new strength, which is another benefit of this with the way that it's infused. But it also creates a new value. Now, the thing that we have to always contend with is the fact that you might actually need to move spaces for that value to be seen. If you had a plate that was purchased in a set and it had a certain amount of value, the person who bought that set may not see that as a benefit once that plate's been broken. It's actually more than likely just going to be discarded and the set's going to seem incomplete. However, if you get this done properly and reform that plate and you actually have it be reinfused with elements that are extremely valuable, extremely beautiful, but take a lot of skill to be crafted, and then you change that market and you end up going to an art gallery, or you end up going to a seeker of fine arts and things, or international wear and fair, all of a sudden that single plate that would otherwise be seen as discarded in one context, all of a sudden now can be sought after and can have a value many, many, many times of what that full set was. But in order to be that, it has to be set aside individually, and it has to have individual craftsmanship added into that and infused into that to create something new. Over the last 12 months, the process of being broken has actually created some very unique learning points for me. And I don't know how it's going to serve each and every one of you, but if this message starts to ring true, I'll be interested to see what happens when we start to share this out and how many other people are feeling like they're in the same place, whether it's in their career, whether it's in their relationships, where there's elements that just seem to happen when something shifts in your life. And it can sometimes start from the adaptation of something all of a sudden broke. My identity, my role, the way that I operate. Maybe your industry broke. Maybe, but the key factor is that just depending on how you have understood that value can be created, being a part of a greater set isn't always going to give you the greatest value. And I'm going to encourage you that as you're trying to figure out and navigate whatever stage you're in, if that feeling of brokenness shows up, just realize that might be the greatest gift that ever happened. It gives you a chance to actually look at some different things, and maybe there are ways that we can help as a community and engage and involve and infuse you with things like gold knowledge, understanding, maybe a better skill set that individually you may end up being able to be something more valuable than anybody could have ever imagined. I hope you will join me on this journey. Drew, this one's kind of for you. Um, as we've talked about this process a lot, but in order to see that value of this process, the first step is broken. Doesn't mean it's going to break you, but sometimes something needs to be broken for there to be something new that can be brought about. Share this, let other people hear about it if you feel that it's going to be valuable. But either way, I'm going to share my heart with you, to be able to take 12 months, put it into 12 days. So first one, broken is a part of the process, but it also is a way for us to be able to find individual value that you would otherwise not be able to experience if you were a part of a set. Have an amazing day. We'll talk soon.